once again, this weekend coming to a close relatively quickly. Only 2 matches left. And oh boy, what a penultimate match. Chile going up against Indonesia here. Both of these squads winning their earlier matches this weekend for a chance to try and make it into that semifinals weekend. It is going to be the end of the line for one of these teams once things are all said and done.
That's true, and you know what makes this match more interesting to me? The fact that these two have faced in the same exact round last year. Quarterfinals, second round, Indonesia versus Chile. We're gonna be having another match that's like this, so I cannot wait to see how this one pans out.
Goodness, it's almost like these two teams are destined to meet at this round. It's basically a proving ground for these two countries. It'll be interesting to see if Chile can turn things around from their fortunes from last year. I believe Indonesia was the one that won the matchup last year. And oh boy, there's two very talented rosters going up against each other. It'll be interesting to see how they fare on this map pool against each other.
Yeah, I really want to see how this one goes. Personally, Chile did amazing on the, I believe it was their match against Australia a while ago. Unfortunately, we didn't really get to see Indonesia, Hong Kong live, so it's kind of going to be difficult. But anyways, you still have the match feed to analyze your stuff and etc. So there you have it. I hope Chile's been doing their research, knowing what they have to ban. I think if I were Chile, I would not ban any of the SVs, because that could be something they can take up, I think.
Yeah, for sure. It's going to be interesting to see how they adjust against this Indonesian roster. Against Australia, it would have been a good idea to ban the SVs, just given how strong they are. But against Indonesia, you might be able to keep them open this time around to see if you can maybe catch them off guard with some of the tricks found in both of those maps. But right now it looks like we're going to be getting into the roles and see who is going to be banning first and second.
Well, let's see what the roles would be. We did see Eliminate rolling, I believe, like a 98, 97. Let's see if there would be any high rolls like that again this time around.
There's a 1, that's a very high roll.
Right, yeah, that's a very high roll, right?
Yes.
I said very high roll, okay?
Now wait, there's always opportunity. Let's see if Indonesia can roll 100. Oh, 27. Okay.
Okay, so we got two pretty low rolls, but like, one of them is literally just a 1.
1.
So, I guess you could say that this is the first curse of this match.
For sure. It's a sign of things to come. Hopefully, you don't name anybody in particular throughout this match, because I feel like there's going to be some very interesting drops throughout this match.
Well, I would really be interested to see as well. I think Chile could probably ban one of the Rice picks, maybe breaking rules. They have an insane score in that one.
Yeah, for sure. So Chile is going to be up to ban first and taking a bit of time to figure out exactly what it is they want to get rid of. Like we were saying earlier, the SVs might be worth keeping up, and it looks like it's going to be breaking rules. So Rice 6 going to be taken out from this map pool. No tech to be found in that regard. Now it's up to Indonesia to round out the ban proceedings before we get into the first pick.
As for the first pick, well, I mean Indonesia still has to do their ban though. But wait, why is Albert saying thank God? That's kind of a surprise. Because remember, Indonesia had a really good score on this map. Probably I think they're a little bit more nervous this time around, so that probably could be a factor that Chile should take note of.
Oh, for sure. And that being said, it's like, you don't want to face players like Miyuka on Rice picks, especially something like Breaking Rules. Definitely a style of map where you can see some incredible ratios, and it looks like Marinol is going to be getting taken out as well in response. So one SV survives, one gets banned. Typical proceedings here. And now we can get into that first pick.
See, the thing about Marinol is like it's a very common ban, at least relative to the other maps. But I could see why Indonesia decided to ban this. I do think in terms of SV, Indonesia is kind of lacking in that aspect, which again I am expecting Chile to know that information already.
Yeah, absolutely. So, working with a bit of information now, both teams have played a match. But with that being said, Indonesia up to pick here. What did they decide to go with? I'd imagine they're gonna want to opt to stay in that lower half of the map pool, just avoiding the SVs. But anything can go. And it's gonna be Daisy Cutter coming out here. LN3 to start this match off. And oh boy, quite a bit of an introduction into this match. Daisy Cutter is quite the difficult LN pick. It's gonna be interesting to see who from both teams is gonna be up to contest this.
Daisy Cutter as a first pick is super interesting to me because wait a minute, is it me or they're swapped?
Yeah, literally the entire Chilean team has decided to go to Indonesia for just a moment before adjusting properly. And let's see the players loading in. Miyuka, Jiandarin, and AzCL coming in for Chile. Albert Ray and Onto Bikasi coming in for Indonesia to contest this pick.
I cannot wait to see this map. I think it's gonna be pretty close. But again, I was expecting Indonesia to start with like a Rice pick right off the get-go instead of an Ellen choice, because I think if there's one kind of pick that Chile has more of a chance of, it's definitely Ellen.
Yeah, with that being said, it's one of those things where it's like you see the players across from the lobby and you gotta pay them that little bit of respect in terms of what they can do on their preferred skill sets. So definitely going to be testing the waters here just a little bit as we wait for all the players to get loaded in here. And let's see how they do. No, the pick like Daisy Cutter, it's very easy to find yourself spiking misses or just dropping 200s on the releases. There are a lot of very tricky jack sections interspersed throughout these LNs. It's going to be interesting to see how the players hold up. And right now, it looks like despite Miyuka's best efforts holding on to that 99.9, the overall accuracy advantage is going the way of Indonesia throughout this first quarter of the map. And as we make our way into the second third of the map, things start to calm down just a little bit. The players get a chance to compose themselves a little bit. And it is currently advantage Indonesia.
It's true, and like this lead though is not that big. Miyuka and Rei are essentially tied. Onto Bikasi and John Durin are as well, but it's a difference between Albert and Faz CL really.
Yeah, so like about 0.1% of difference, and we saw a couple of 200s coming out from Miyuka in that last section. Gonna drop them down into that 99.7 range. Gotta be able to recover just a little bit here, but for right now the lead is only extending. Rei basically putting in the work right now for Indonesia going to the last third of the map.
Yeah, I mean, it's really close still. No misses so far. The mini jack is about to, another mini jack is about to approach. Can anyone from Indonesia miss? I don't think that's gonna happen though. Oh wow. Never mind. There's the miss. Can Chile take it? There's enough time, and the bar is a Chile. But there's mini jacks at the end which they could miss. But Chile takes a break point against Indonesia. And oh my god. Oh, I don't even know what to say anymore.
Oh my goodness, that curse was signed, sealed, and delivered. That was arguably the most inopportune time for a slider break to occur. Indonesia had it in the bag, but all it takes is one slip up and the advantage goes straight over to Chile, and they take the first break point in this match to go up 1-0.
And that's gotta be a huge motivation boost for the Chilean team. Oh my goodness. Really, really insane score overall for both teams, actually.
Yeah, absolutely. That is not an easy pick in the slightest, and it only took one slider break to decide everything. That is how close these two teams are. Oh, and we're going straight into arguably one of the most interesting picks in this pool. It's going to be Justify My Love coming out for Chile.
Alright, Justify My Love. Well, I'm expecting Niflocks to come in. Like, Niflocks overall is just really, really good at stuff like that.
Yeah, for sure. This is I call this pick very interesting because it takes so little for everything to just go absolutely wrong on core jack picks like this. It takes one little slip up and you start finding yourself dropping a lot of bad judgments and the accuracy just goes out the window. And with how good all these players are, all it takes is for a singular 200 to come out at the wrong time and things just flip over in an instant.
Well, we'll see. It looks like the third player for Chile is not showing up. Okay, there we go, Niflocks. But I was kind of expecting Riz CL to play for Chile, unless there's some like emergency that caused them not to play. And I think that's the reason why Riz hasn't been playing this whole time.
Yeah, for sure. I think they missed their last match as well, so hopefully everything's well with them. But it looks like we are going to see some substitutions. Zan and Niflocks coming in for Chile, and Adhiza coming in for Indonesia. Gonna see one last substitution. Raze and Ray gonna be rounding out the composition.
That is really interesting to me. I was kind of expecting Albert, because Albert is also really good at accuracy. But Raze is no joke as well. I've seen them play overall, and like they're certainly a Rice player to fear. And so are Adiza, and of course Ray. Ray is just in general the forefront of Indonesia's Rice accuracy. But the two backup players are no slouch. And same for Chile, I'd say.
Yeah, it's gonna be all eyes on Miyuka for Chile to put up those scores that they're known so well for and see if Zan and Niflocks can back them up here. They're loaded into the second map of this best of 11. It's going to be Chile's chance to capitalize on that break point. Indonesia going to want to take that point back as soon as possible to tie things up here.
And right now, speaking of which, it looks like Raze is going to have a minor act disparity. But look at Miyuka right now, holding 100%. Wait a minute. Can this stop?
No, we're 200 notes in. Miyuka's still holding on to that 100%. We have seen some incredible ratios on this map before. I think immediately to Brazil, all three of their players getting sub 4,300 counts on this map. This is one where players that are really comfortable with core jacks can really flex their muscles here, and we are seeing it here. Ray's recovering very well from that earlier accuracy drop back up into that 99.9 range. This is going to be teetering on a knife's edge. Any 200 counts throughout this map are going to be huge.
Yeah, well, it looks like Miyuka has unfortunately dropped that accuracy down to just 99.99.
Oh my goodness, such a huge accuracy drop, 100%.
Exactly. I mean, there's a 100 in there, so that's big. But right now, the difference between Zan and Raze, I think, is kind of determining it. But I don't think this is too much either, because Niflocks has an advantage against Adiza and Ray. Of course, Miyuka has an advantage as well. But Raze and Zan, those two players, you gotta keep an eye on them. Oh, but Raze drops, I think, out 200, so that could potentially give the lead
but
back
Niflocks
to
drops!
Chile! Ah, that's unfortunate. Niflocks with the drop. You would have to hope for Indonesia to drop once. At least once on the flams, but this team is just very consistent overall.
For sure, they still have two players in at 99.9% range, and as I was saying, as this map started, it just takes one little slip up for everything to go all wrong, and despite that, I would imagine 150 coming out from Niflocks. They're back up into that 99.9% range, but that combo break is absolutely devastating going into the last sliver of the map. It is Indonesia's point to lose right now, despite this incredible run from Miyuka, still holding on to that 99.9%, and it is going to be insane to see what number he puts up in that 300 count. Oh my goodness.
Oh man, that was like
12!
wait a minute, 65? Wait, so if Niflux did not miss, this would have been the Chilean team's point. Because 12-65. And look, Ray and Niflux had the same ratio, but Miyuka beats Adiza by a lot, and Zan wasn't too far behind Ray, so I think this would have been Chile's point.
Oh, this is the ultimate. It's a team sport moment. You have a player that gets 12 300s and your team still loses. That is just how a map like this goes. Everybody's able to perform so incredibly well on it that it just takes one slip up, just like we saw in Daisy Cutter. It just takes one hiccup throughout the map to really swing things, and we are now tied 1-1.
Yep, 1-1 indeed. And that means Indonesia is now going to be picking. Well, there's no disadvantage anymore. 1-1. I think this essentially just. I'm not sure. Does it reset anything? But all I know is that that's -1 rice pick. And I am expecting Indonesia to just take advantage of the rice.
Yeah, but they're still not gonna go into that upper half of the map pool. They're gonna stick with the hybrids here. It's gonna be summer coming out, so still not wanting to fully commit, but this is not a bad pick at all. They were winning Daisy Cutter up until the very end of the map, so they might feel confident in being able to take some of these lower half of the map pool picks.
Oh, looks like Ray is gonna go, or Ray picking Summer for the Indonesian team. Wow, I'm really surprised Indonesia is not picking any of the rice picks so far. Like, if there was a team that I expected to pick Justify My Love, it would have been Indonesia, but looks like that's not gonna be the case for now.
I mean, to be fair, you see the scores from Chile on Justify, and you see that 12, and that just strikes fear into the heart. That is just no. That's an illegal score. You shouldn't be able to do that.
I understand that, but remember, this is a team effort. It's not it's not like, okay, I know that they have the best player in the world, essentially unstoppable, but remember, this is a team effort. It's not just one person. And Indonesia, I think, has to take note of that if that's what their mindset is right now.
Absolutely, but with that being said, they have made their pick. It is going to be summer coming out. Things all square here. Essentially a best of 9 now as we make our way into the third map of this match. And we see a couple of accuracy drops from the side of Chile here, handing a lead to Indonesia for the time being. A couple of 200s coming out in that initial burst from Faz, Muka, and Rin probably, or just an excessive amount of 300s. You'd imagine it's going to start to balance out as we make our way deeper into the map. But for right now, looking good for Indonesia.
Fortunately, Faz has been dropping accuracy, but Albert missed. And that is going to be big for the Chilean team.
Gonna hand him over the lead for right now. Albert dropping a couple of 200s also out of that burst, and Ray gonna find a drop on the transition as well as we make our way into the first break, going into the second third of the map. And right now it is smooth sailing right now for Chile. 3 full combos still up on the board for them. They just need to hold on to the accuracies here now.
Very surprised that Antapakasi is the highest accuracy in Indonesia, because this map is pretty physical, and I was expecting Ray or Albert to take it higher, but Antapakasi's been dropping some 200s. That's unfortunate. FatCL has to hold on to that full combo. Yes, it's 99.4. Yes, it's the lowest in the lobby, but ultimately, if you full combo, that's huge.
Yeah, for sure. You get to secure those extra amount of points. A drop here would be devastating as we make our way into the last quarter of the map. And Albert finds another drop here, and that's going to really solidify this lead for Chile now. Probably having a couple of misses now banked if they were to drop. But as it stands, they have been very consistent on this pick so far and on that lower half of the pool. And it is all to play for right now as Chile look to try and take another breakpoint in succession.
Chile has been really insane, keeping that triple full combo. Unfortunately, Indonesia has, yes, they reached the combo cap, but it's not going to be enough. Accuracy goes to, I think, Indonesia slightly, but Chile with the freeway FC gives him the point. It's now 2-1, another break point.
Oh my goodness, somebody keep a counter on the breakpoints. We are now at 3. These teams basically picking each other's strong suits. And I mean, you were alluding to it. Indonesia should be picking the rice. Chile should be picking the LNs. Maybe they should really flip the strategies here.
Wait, give me a moment. Muka missed at the start? I did not
Oh,
notice that. So that's what happened.
okay,
But
that explains the
regardless,
accuracy drop.
but
Wow.
regardless, it was at the very start, so it didn't really matter too much. Muka going for Desperado Walls. Considering that you won the LN and the hybrid, I like this pick.
Yeah, for sure. As I was saying, it might be time to flip the script a little bit. Might want to pick what your opponent might want to, and it's going to be Desperado Walls. They did incredibly well this pick against Australia, so could expect to see some very high scores from them. I would not be surprised if we didn't see any substitutions here. These are two very strong LN rosters for both these countries.
That's true, and there we go. So it looks like it's gonna be on to Bikasi, Albert, and Ray. And on the other hand, Chile, I think is gonna be having Yuka, Faz, and Jean Rin. Honestly, I'm not surprised to see the lineup.
Yeah, for sure. Very formidable on both sides. And just like Daisy Cutter, this map is filled with areas that can just cause you to chain miss when you try and recover from either a slider break or just spiking one of the holds found throughout this map. So it'll be interesting to see who blinks first. And now we have this dichotomy switch where Chile is now the one picking the LN hybrid stuff. Maybe they can secure their first organic point and not give over a break point to make it 2-2.
Is said, I like how you call that point an organic point, but like at the end of the day, considering that it's just been breakpoint after breakpoint, I don't really know how to feel because it probably means that Chile is just toe to toe with Indonesia. And despite like the seed difference, yes, Indonesia seed 9, Chile as a seed 17 team is no team to slouch on. They're definitely a team that you should have to be careful for.
Yeah, for sure. There are no weak countries remaining this deep into the tournament. And as we make our way into this fourth map, it's going to be interesting to see who blinks first. Is the streak of breakpoints going to continue? Or will the team that picks their own map going to win their own map for once?
And right now, it does look like Indonesia has the advantage. Faz and Jondarin at a solid 99.6. Muka is matching Ray, but the backup players for Indonesia are what's giving Indonesia the lead. But oh look, wait a minute. Hanzo Bikasi is dropping that accuracy slightly, and so is Albert. But Ray is also dropped while Muka staying consistent at that 99.87. Can Chile take this? We'll have to find out.
Going into the break, it is the tiniest sliver. They are virtually tied going into the second third of the map. And as you were saying, out of the transition of that last section, we saw Albert and Anta starting to drop a bit of accuracy, recovered just a little bit here now to keep themselves above Faz and Jean Darin. And it's going to be up to Faz and Jean to not drop any more accuracy. We saw 200 there before we make it into this last burst. Last half of the map still to go.
Wow, the Chilean team is just doing a lot better than they did in like the Australian match, I believe. Indonesia is on the driver's seat, but as they say the driver's seat, now it goes to Chile. Unfortunate. Can this be a turning point? And like what you said, could this be a chance for them to take a quote-unquote organic point? But it's not over yet. This burst is really difficult, and all players hit it.
Yeah, absolutely. Albert doing very well to get back up over that 400 combo cap immediately after that slider break. Not a lot of accuracy lost, but it is still a couple thousand points of a buffer for Chile to work with. And if they can all hold on as they have been so far this match, it's looking very well for them here. Last couple of...
Wait a minute. The ending is really difficult. That Jack is no joke. We've seen some players miss here and there, and even accuracy drops. But is it enough? Will anyone drop? It's not gonna happen. Chile's gonna take it. It's gonna be 3-1 for the Chilean team. Oh my god, that was barely a lead even.
That's 1,400 points of a difference. It is coming down to the slimmest of margins throughout this match. We saw it on Daisy Cutter, a 50 decided it. We saw it on Justify, a miss determined it. And it's just whoever blinks first throughout this match is determining the outcome. And Chile takes advantage and makes it 3-1 now.
Man, that's a bad position for Indonesia. Like, remember in Hong Kong versus Indonesia, Indonesia was in a disadvantage at the start, but they somehow clawed their way back. Can Chile stop that from happening? Well, we'll have to find out. There's still Petapeta for Chile to take, and right now Ram is the call. I think that's the right move.
Yeah, full flip of the script here. The teams have made their adjustments. Indonesia's probably going to opt to focus more on the upper half of the map, while Chile is going to be the one to pick those lower maps, the hybrid and LN. And we're going to start to see the substitutions come back in here. Zan and Niflox coming in for Chile. And now we see Retro EX coming in for Indonesia to back up Ray. And it'll be interesting to see who the third is. It's going to be Adhiza here.
I'm not surprised to see Adiza, but RetroX is one I'm also surprised about. I was expecting Albert, but RetroX is no joke and stuff like this as well. So we'll have to see how Muka, Zan, and Niflux will perform.
For sure, maybe they're a bit more comfortable in this higher BPM jump stream style of maps. But it's always interesting coming in mid-match without having played a map. Coming in cold, you might have those nerves, you might have a little bit of doubt creeping in. It's going to be up to Retro to not succumb to the nerves here and put up a performance for Indonesia to keep them in this match, lest they give Chile a 4-1 advantage. And as we wait for the players to load in, it's only a minute and 30 seconds to decide who takes this next point.
Wait a minute. Right now, it does seem like... wait, what happened? Niflux had the pretty bad start, I think, is what happened.
Yeah, Niflox and Dan both dropping some bad judgments there in that opening burst. You know how sometimes the audio likes to hiccup a little bit, might have caught them off guard there, but it's going to give Indonesia a bit of an advantage here to work with. We see a very consistent 99.8 across the board from Indonesia. Miyuka, of course, going to be standing tall above everybody else, and at 99.98% range, it's going to be up to Zan and Niflox to pick up the pace here to try and lend some support to try and get this lead back going into the back half of the map.
Yeah, right now, I know that Chile is in a pretty big disadvantage, but again, remember, that miss by Niflox was just at the start, and 99.4 is still very commendable. So it's not over yet for Chile. They can still take this, but they'll need to hope for Indonesia to drop.
Yeah, and it's going to have to come relatively soon. Last third of the map. This is not a long map by any stretch of the imagination, so the window of opportunity is closing, and we take a bit of a break here before we get into the last jump stream section.
Here we go.
We still have 6 full combos on the board. Nobody has blinked, and Zan is going to be the first one to drop. Niflox follows suit after.
That was so unfortunate for Chile. Unfortunately, you cannot do anything against a team score like Indonesia's. 2990, that is a team score. I mean, even if Chile had a triple full combo, that would have not been a win. But 24 by Muka, are you kidding me?
That is a triple V1SS from Indonesia in response to that incredible run from Miyuka. That is how you respond to losing some of your own picks, and they make it 3-2 now.
Oh man, that is
my goodness.
Really good. Adiza saying like they improved their score by 3 perfects. Well, 3 perfects is still a lot considering this kind of map. And also, just don't forget, that was a triple V1SS by Indonesia as well. So again, no chance, regardless.
Yeah, and as it stands, Chile up to pick next. They're discussing what the route forward is going to be. They've had some success here on the LN. I mean, Petapeta is there. You also have something like Matern Trucks and Azure Vixen to go into. And it's amazing how this match has evolved as the picks have come out.
Well, we'll have to see for now. I like that they're taking their time, by the way. You absolutely must do that.
Yeah, they need to remember they do have the timeout if they absolutely need it to get themselves an extra 2 minutes. Don't want to get clocked for taking too long making these pick decisions. If you really need that time, it is there for you to use. So Our referee pushing for a pick from Chile here. Oh, it's going to be Matern Trucks coming out. Hybrid 1 is going to be the decision from Chile to try and push the pace of this match even further.
Man, I gotta say though, I understand choosing Matern Trucks. Remember, they were the ones who won LN and Hybrid, so of course, go for the anti-meta stuff is what I would say. But like, there's something that I'm afraid of. It's called double tapping. This map, at least to me, I was like super prone to just double tapping some of the LNs here, and I don't want that to happen to any of these players. That would be so heartbreaking.
For sure, especially with how fast this map can get. It's unsurprising that the urge to double tap in some instances can lead to some unfortunate drops, and it looks like we're going to see the more LN focused lineups of these countries start to come in. Myuka, Jandarin, and Baz, and then onto Pikasi, Ray, and Adiza is going to be staying in for this one unless there's a last second substitution.
Alright. Oh, by the way, I gotta say, as a side note, looks like China and Peru is already starting, and, well, they bagged both SBs, alright?
No love for the SB.
That's something.
That has been the order of business this quarterfinals round. The SVs are really starting to pick up difficulty. And, I mean, there's still one here in this match. It's going to be interesting to see if either of these countries decide to go for it. But that being said, we got to deal with this hybrid first. It's going to be Matern Trucks, an opportunity for Chile to go for 2-up, and an opportunity for Indonesia to tie this back up.
Here we go. I'm really excited to see how this one turns out. But also Pikasi dropped it to 100. The Faz and John Durin has the worst act overall, but look at Myuka's act right now. 99.9. That is really what they have to do as of this point.
Yeah, absolutely. Myuka is the one player that cannot afford to drop any accuracy from the side of Chile, and it's up to Jean and Faz to meet them in that higher accuracy range, both of them in that 99.5 range. But that being said, Anta and Ray, actually Anta themselves dropping into that 99.5 range as well, are going to be shrinking this lead ever so slightly as we make our way into the second quarter of the map.
It's still not over yet, but as I say that, John Durin unfortunately misses. But again, there's still a lot of the map left. Accuracy-wise, I think Indonesia has a lead, of course. But still, any breaks from Indonesia is going to give it back to Chile, though it's not happening right now. This consistency is what they absolutely must do. But again, like what I said, a map like this is easy to trip on.
Yeah, absolutely. Especially once you see the hand streaks come out, and Anta Pikasi is going to be the first one to fall from Indonesia. That is their lowest accuracy on their side, so not going to do too much damage as if Ray or Adhiza had dropped. So it's going to be not that much, but Adhiza drops now, and now we start to get a little bit worried. The lead is starting to go over to the side of Chile. Is there enough time? There's a third of the map left to go, and it's starting to swing over.
Yes, there is enough time, but Chile has to hold on to those full combos. Ray is the only full combo remaining left in Indonesia. Will we see any more misses? There is another miss from Anta Pikasi, which is gonna give the lead more to Chile. Oh my goodness.
Last sliver of map left to go, and it's really been those Rice transitions out of the LN structures that are getting onto a bit of trouble here. A couple of challenges coming out on the releases as the LN start to make their reappearance. But right now, it is Chile to lose, and John Durin is going to be the one to drop. That being said, they have dropped already, so the damage isn't that bad, but it's starting to trend over to Indonesia. Is there enough time?
I think there is enough time. Indonesia has the lead. But can there be any more misses? No more, unfortunately.
Oh my goodness, this was a very dicey pick.
Wow, wait, it's 3-3 now. Oh my god, that was so close. Literally, that was Chile's pick to win.
Yeah, they had it in their hands. It looked a little bit dicey there, but that last draw from Jean Durin, unable to get back up with that 400 combo cap because there wasn't enough time, and we are now tied 3-3. Oh, and it was a bit of a lag spike from Jean Durin that caused those drops. That is very unfortunate. But with that being said, there's still plenty of match still to come. This is essentially a best of 5 now.
Yeah, but hey, I mean, of course, I understand that Chile lost. But remember, it's 3-3. And you still have one hybrid, one LN. And yes, this basically means Chile only lost because of lag spike, I believe.
Yeah, looks like it's gonna be Ego the pick from Indonesia. And you'd imagine we're gonna start to see the substitutions start to come out. We see Albert coming in for onto Bikasi. Zan coming in for Chile, and you would imagine Niflox might be coming in to round out that Chilean roster. And right on cue, it'll be interesting to see who comes in for Indonesia to round out theirs. You have Rays might be coming in here. That being said, you also have Albert in reserve as well. So it just really comes down to who's more comfortable on a pick like this. Not as techy as breaking rules, but definitely lends itself to some tricky sections overall.
Oh man, here we go. I really want to see how this one is gonna go through. Like, I think Indonesia should be the favorites to win a Rice map in general, but at the end of the day, I don't think it's that easy for Indonesia to take it.
Yeah, for sure. We have seen throughout all these Rice picks, it comes down to singular judgment, swinging things wildly in favor of the other team. So it's going to come down to who can maintain that composure, especially now that we're in the mid-match scenario. You start to get some of the nerves to creep in because you see the situation, you see the scoreline, and you want to try and hyper-focus to ensure that you're not the one causing the drops for the team, and that's really where the mistakes start to come out.
We'll see how this one goes. I can't wait. Alright. Looks like it's gonna be Indonesia versus Chile on Ego. I don't know how this one's gonna go actually. Oh, but Zan gonna miss. But Adiza as well. What is happening?
Okay, very interesting start from both teams. So basically canceling out those misses. Zan's was a little bit earlier, so they're gonna hit that 400 combo gap just ever so slightly earlier to try and stem some of this lead growing from Indonesia. That being said, the accuracy out of those misses favoring Adhesia. You were gonna say?
Yeah, I was just gonna say, like, if you were Zan or Adiza, you'd be like, oh no, I missed, but unfortunately, looks like Niflox did as well. I was about to say, like, that would have been a relief for both of these players, but unfortunately, Adiza is the one who's gonna be more relief, given that Niflox had like 3 misses in that one spot alone.
Yeah, it was Grace that was giving them a little bit of trouble as we transition into the back half of the map, and that is the largest lead that Indonesia has had so far throughout this map. It's going to take a couple of drops here to try and hand this back, and now they take a break and they can see the score for just a moment. They see those 2 drops.
Here we go now. There's still some time, but like I highly doubt, as Zan, unfortunately, one more miss. So that's going to give it a 4 miss buffer, or I think it's a 3 miss buffer regardless for Indonesia. Well, make it 4 now.
Yeah, just overall uncomfortable with the pick overall as the bursts start to come out. It's starting to trip up both Zan and Niflox here. Niflox doing very well to recover from their earlier Grace Note hiccups, but it has done all the damage here as Indonesia, as this map winds down, takes the lead now and makes it 4-3.
In all honesty, so go ahead.
That is 3,300s from Miyuka. This is why they were probably. This is why they were scared to pick Rice at the beginning, because this man can just do things like this.
What is going on here? Like how?
How
is this happening? By the way, can I just say, this is a random match in a way, because like this was either gonna be 5-1 or 4-3, and I guess it became 5-1. Like, it was almost 5-1, but like 2 misses from Chile unfortunately gave it away. So right now, I think the mindset should be, we almost won the picks, but we have to absolutely try and reduce the amount of times we choke or something. I think that's the way to go.
Yeah, for sure. Especially with how close things have been. You cannot afford to have those little drops here and there because they are doing a lot of damage in that regard. And it looks like it's going to be Petapeta coming out. So rounding out the LN picks in this pool.
So it's gonna be Albert and Ray. I think it's gonna be Jandarin. Okay, yeah, Jandarin just started OS. But for the Indonesian side, I would be expecting Anta Bekasi again.
Yeah, for sure. Anta Bekasi being one of the better LN players for Indonesia, at least in this regard, and right on cue. And then, of course, we have Faz coming in as well for Chile. Miuka, the ever-present anchor for Chile. Ray as well, putting in the work, playing all these maps so far for Indonesia.
It looks like we'll be having our, I think, the same lineups we've seen for LNs in general. We have Ray, Albert, and Anta Bekasi for the Indonesian side. Well, for the Chilean side, we're going to be having Miuka, Faz, Ciel, and Jandarin. I'm really not surprised with either team.
Yeah, absolutely. And this one being a bit of a coordination and release test. It's very easy to find yourself dropping 200s all over the place, trying to keep yourself coordinated and trying to regain a grasp where you're supposed to be holding. It does prove to be a bit of a tricky task if you're not too comfortable on the LNs, but these 6 players have been dominating on the bottom half of this map pool. So remains to see how they do here. An opportunity for Chile to tie things up. Indonesia can make it match point here if they can break this point.
Right now, we've seen some 200 drops here, and as they say that, Jandarin and Anta Bekasi had a little bit of a rough start, and actually so did Rei and Miuka, but surprisingly Faz Ciel just towers over everyone at the start.
Yeah, no. 5 out of 6 of these players did not fare too well out of that introduction. We saw some 98s out of the introduction. Gonna recover now as things start to standardize just a little bit. That freeform release section has been a nightmare for some players to handle, and we see the 200 count start to come out across the board. And it's going to be Indonesia's lead for right now going into the second quarter of the map. All their players trending in at 99.6% range. Albert a little bit behind, but going to be able to recover just a little bit as the map progresses, you would imagine.
Oh, but we see Faz Ciel with the break. That is very unfortunate.
Yeah, an unfortunate break there, as you said. Going to hurt the accuracy just a little bit, but Miuka has done very well to recover. Going to be highest in the lobby right now, 99.8, but they're the ones who find a slider break here. That's not who you want to break here.
That is true, but man, Indonesia has just been really consistent. They have the triple full combo, an amazing recovery from the start. Unfortunately for Chile, only Jandarin has been holding that FC. Faz Ciel almost at the 98 range, but still, it's a pretty long map, so any more breaks from Indonesia could still swing it over to Chile.
Yeah, absolutely. 1.5 minutes of this map still left to go, and you start to wonder about the mental stamina, having to hold and concentrate on these releases for a map as long as this one is, really starts to wear on you a little bit, and you start to maybe lose the coordination a little bit. It'll be interesting to see how the players fare as we take a bit of a break now before we dive right back on into it.
Man, it's just really unfortunate to see those breaks because now Miuka is at the top of the accuracy department along with Ray, but I think Miuka is slightly higher. But unfortunately, none of the backup players are beating the backup players of the Indonesian side in terms of accuracy. And that's essentially what's making this lead huge.
Yeah, absolutely. The discrepancy between that second and third player for both these countries is really what's helping Indonesia here as we make our way into the last quarter of the map. And it is basically about a 20,000 point lead and growing as the 200 start to come out from all the players, damaging the accuracies just a little bit more. 99.2s for Jandarin and Faz. Not going to be enough here to contest Ray and Ontabekasi. I mean, this is a very consistent performance from Indonesia. All three of them holding on to the full combos this late on into the map. It is going to take a complete collapse, and I don't think there's enough time, even if that does happen.
It's true, and like, man, Indonesia's team score is really insane. They should be like 295, 296? 296 indeed. That's really, really good. 2929 is no slouch as well, but overall, in terms of the ratio game, Indonesia is just far ahead. But Muka's 339 is certainly just absolutely insane for a map like this.
Yeah, absolutely. Just catching a couple slider breaks in that earlier section. And it looks like Faz did find one as well. And I mean, that's been the margin so far. And now it is match point for Indonesia, making it 5-3. So now if you are Indonesia, what do you decide to go with here? You have had the better fortune on those rice picks. MP Addiction and Fiona are left on the board, but I mean, speedy streams or stamina, what do you decide to go with here? It looks like it is now their turn to discuss how they should proceed with this match. I mean, SV is still there if you want to throw a bit of a wild card out there, but it is such a risky pick.
If I were the captain of Indonesia, I would go for Fiona. Looking at Ram and Ego, seems like Zan and Niflox are sort of struggling in the physicality department, and I would say that Fiona is the most physically daunting map, so definitely go for something like Fiona. I think NP Addiction could work as well, but still, you would want to go for something that I think is a little bit safer, and Fiona is certainly the one to choose.
Oh, but it's going to be MP Addiction here. They're going to opt for the stamina. They're going to try and out-physical and outlast this Chilean roster. I mean, it's a tall task trying to outlast Miyuka, but I mean, the other two players might have a bit more of a chance here.
Indeed, like, considering that this is also your tournament life on the line, I bet the Chilean team in general is just like, we really gotta do our best. Really have to keep it up. Try to lessen the bleeding. No more mistakes can be afforded here.
Absolutely, backs against the wall. But I have to break this and win your next pick to try and take this to tiebreaker. Indonesia doing just enough to at least secure that scenario. So it is theirs to lose now as we see Faz and Niflox come in. Gonna be interesting to see who comes in to round up this Indonesian roster. They have pick of the litter basically. They have Albert, they have Ray Z to choose from. And they also have Retro EX, an outside pick as well, but it just comes down to who's the most comfortable handling a song this long.
We're just gonna be waiting. Looks like Fazio is gonna play for Zan. Honestly, I was expecting Faz to swap in for Niflox and then put in Zan. But alright. I think I see what Muka's going.
Yeah, for sure. We see Retro EX come in for Indonesia. Probably the freshest player left on that Indonesian roster, so an opportunity for them to approach this match with fresher fingers and hopefully a little bit more stamina than those that have been playing more maps than they have.
We just have to see. Well, Retro X has really been consistent in maps like this. Honestly, I wouldn't be surprised to see another insane team score from Indonesia, but Chile, I think, could have a chance as well.
Yeah, so it's just really going to come down to keeping those misses at an all-time low. If you can FC this map, even better, but definitely cannot afford to slip up here with a team as consistent as Indonesia has been.
So right now, I would really be curious as to see how these two will fare. it's just gonna be really unfortunate whoever team is gonna be eliminated.
Yeah, for sure. Two very strong teams. It's unfortunate one of them has to say goodbye at the end of this match. It has been quite the run for both these teams, but they're going to try and give it their all as we begin to make our way towards the drop here. And right now it is tiny advantage Indonesia.
I mean, it's the difference really between Fast CL, Niflox, and the two Adiza and RetroX. But Nuka's taking advantage of Ray, and I think while that is really impressive, at the end of the day, it has to be a team effort.
For sure, and overall the team performances from Indonesia have been just enough to keep Chile at bay, and right now we're seeing that consistency coming out. 99.9s apiece, Retro falling down into that 99.8 range, but I mean they're still above 2 of 3 of the Chilean players here going into the second third of the map.
The fact that Chile is now holding 3 full combos is really, really important, because really one of the big reasons why Chile has been losing maps is because they're not able to secure that combo lead. And I've seen Indonesia choke here and there, so if at any moment, if Indonesia drops a miss or two, or has a rush of 200s, the lead will definitely shift back to the Chilean side.
For sure, but right now, as things stand, 6 full combos on the board. It's really going to come down to overall team accuracy, and that is being held by Indonesia here, keeping Chile at bay despite Miyuka's best efforts. It is Baz and Niflox that really need to put in the work here to build their accuracy to try and contest these dominating scorers from Adhiza and Retro EX. Ray has been the stalwart consistency, and Niflox is going to be the first one to find the break here, going to the back half of the map, and that is not what Chile needed here going into this last third.
Exactly. You would have to hope Indonesia would have like 2 to 3 misses, and overall, there's one of the miss. There's a miss from Retro X, and if one more miss from Indonesia happens, this could go back to the Chilean side. But I don't think any misses are gonna happen though. This team is just really consistent.
Yeah, absolutely. These jump screens start to feel unending this late on into the map. It really tests your focus, and only a sliver of map left to go. And in that trade, Retro EX fared a lot better than Niflox from the drops, both in the backup of that 400 combo cap. And as it stands, it is Indonesia's point to lose now. The door is quickly closing on Chile here. It is going to take a miracle for them to try and pull this out despite their best efforts. And as the map begins to wind down, there aren't any tricks left up this map's sleeve. And it looks like Indonesia has done just enough to secure a 6 point and take it over Chile, knocking them out of the tournament.
Oh man, that was so unfortunate. Like, looking at Niflox's score, I think it would have been slightly enough just to beat the Chilean side. And I mean, enough to beat the Indonesian side. I'm sorry, I'm getting these two teams mixed up. But man, that was just really close in general, and unfortunate to see Chile out of the tournament, but they put their best efforts and certainly performed so much better than their placement in the qualifiers.
Yeah, for sure. Definitely put up quite a bit of a fight here. Unfortunately, not going to be enough as Indonesia punches their ticket into the semifinals, keeping themselves alive for another weekend. This will be the end of the line for Chile. Commiserations to them, but definitely a performance they can be proud of here.